Hey Bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today I'm really excited. I'm finally going to give you the studio tour that pretty much all of you have been asking for years now. So I recently moved, and in the process of moving, I got to / had to completely redo my studio. And so now, instead of it being this like organically spawned hodgepodge of stuff just shoved places, it's actually like a well thought out nice place, and everything's in one room, and it's really quite lovely. So I'm really excited to show you around. There is an accompanying blog post, so if you want to read more, go down to the description box and click through. There's lots of photos, and there's actually a 2-scale floor plan because I'm that kind of person. So yeah, that's interesting. But for this one, we are going to switch to filming on my phone for the movability, and also so that you can see the filming setup in action. So I apologize in advance for the decrease in audio and video quality, but I think it's going to be a better experience on the whole for the moving around and the pointing at things and stuff. So yeah, come on in. All right, so here we are. We're currently set up for filming, so you can see my 2 soft boxes, nice and bright. My Nikon D750 there on my Manfrotto tripod, and then down here we have my monitor. So that's the monitor that I use so that I can see myself and I know what's going on and if I'm in frame or not. So if we pan over to the side here, you can see my overhead mic, which obviously I use for audio, and you can see my dress form, and I use that so that I have something to focus on when I'm setting up the shot. Over here, we have a bookcase, which is mostly full of props that I use for setting up shots. So you can see, you'll probably recognize quite a few of these cute little jars and dried herbs and things, and prep cups and the like. And down at the bottom, we've got some distilled water in a jug and some extra packaging. You'll also see quite a few experiments just generally scattered around. That's what's in the beakers there. As we pan around, you'll start to kind of get a feel for a bit more of the room. Those lights are really blowing things out, but without them you can't see much. So we'll come over into this closet area. And so this, you can see, is fairly well inset and has a shelf along the top there. So I've got 2 shelving units, a cabinet, and then a chest of drawers in here. So hop over here. On this top shelf, I have a bit of a hodgepodge of ingredients. There are preservatives, humectants, some active ingredients and extracts, my nail polish base, some cationic ingredients, some fancy salts, and other crystallized ingredients. It's definitely a bit of a hodgepodge. And if we hop up here to this hanging unit, lots of gelling agents and gums and some other thickening things. Swing back down here. This middle shelf is pretty much entirely clays of many different varieties. And the bottom shelf is cosmetic base ingredients. So things like titanium dioxide, magnesium stearate, and cerussite mica. So that's that. We'll open up the doors to this cupboard here. So this is mostly my carrier oils cupboard. So the top drawer, or top shelf here, is carrier oils. The second one is butters. This one is giant bottles of essential oils, and then also a massive tub of coconut oil. And down here we have really large bottles of carrier oils, mostly to stabilize this unit, which is not as sturdy and stable as one would sort of hope. And one unit over. Be smart, start up here this time. Got a variety of powdered active ingredients up here. So like my panthenol and my niacinamides up here, and my hyaluronic acid and my magnesium hydroxide. Yeah, there's a bunch of just kind of random stuff up here. It was like, what comes in small envelopes and is kind of expensive? That's this shelf. Clear, eh? Down here we have lots of botanicals, so lots of powdered extracts and dried herbs. Next shelf down, you can see a wide array of sort of ongoing experiments, but then it's mostly thickeners, fatty thickeners, so stearic acid, cetyl alcohol, cetyl alcohol, that sort of thing. And then down one more, we have wax. So obviously a ton of beeswax, but also like bayberry wax, candelilla wax, carnauba wax, that sort of thing. Over in the end of the closet here, I have nestled a chest of drawers. Up top there, more packaging, just so much packaging. So I'm quite pleased with these top drawers here. It's my mica collection and my pigment collection, so I've organized it like the rainbow. So the top one here you'll see is reds and pinks. The second one, oranges, yellows, browns, golds, copper, that sort of thing. We have our blue, green, teal, indigo, violet sort of category. This I think is probably the prettiest drawer. And then this last one here is black and white and silver, and then some sort of just like miscellaneous fancy cosmetic powders like boron nitride, and somewhere in here there's like hydrolyzed pearl powder. Not quite sure how that got lumped in with pigments, but and then our next two drawers are essential oils and fragrance oils. So I've gone and bought little round white stickers so that I could label the top of everything, so I could store them like this. So essential oils get black ink, fragrance oils get red ink. And then these little sorter baskets, I got them used on Kijiji, but I've seen them at Dollarama, so they're certainly inexpensive. And I've kind of grouped these things together. So this is like mostly tree things. This was mostly sort of like herb things. This was sort of mostly flower things. It's pretty loose, but there is some sort of rhyme to the reason, and all the fragrance oils are just kind of up the side here. And then those are of course the 15 and 30 milliliter bottles, and then the 100 milliliter bottles are in the taller drawer because they start getting taller from here on out. So essential oils, fragrance oils. Pretty much no rhyme or reason to those ones, but there's a lot less of them. And then these bottom three drawers are just sort of more packaging. Along the top of the closet, you'll mostly find packaging. So I have these really useful wooden boxes, and I've labeled them with 6-inch strips of blackboard tape with chalk markers. And so I'm quite pleased with this solution. The ink doesn't smudge when dry, but if I used a bit of Windex, I could wipe it off and relabel the boxes if I needed to at some other point. This giant box is all soap molds, and then there's my wooden soap mold. I think I might have too many soap molds. Is that a thing? In this corner, we have another cupboard, and this one is pretty much all equipment. So you'll see my wonderful spatula collection and some tiny whisks, quite a few coffee grinders, my immersion blender, and my little mini mixers live in here. Down here we've got scales and a hot plate, gloves and mixing jugs, bowls and pots, and then more heavy stuff to anchor this down. So a lot of olive oil, lye, and some Epsom salts. Between the lights we have one more little shelving unit here. So the top shelf is emulsifiers and solubilizers. So you can see my emulsive emulse, emulsifying wax NF. There's, polysorbate 80, water-soluble shea butters in there somewhere, some Cremoleon SCE. Quite the variety. The next shelf here, this is our surfactant selection. Quite a fun shelf, if I do say so. And then down here, we have silicones over there. And then this side kind of end up being miscellaneous powders. So this is where like my baking soda lives, seaweed powder, citric acid, stuff where it's sort of like, well, it's not a makeup powder. It's just a miscellaneous powder. So yeah, that's that shelf. And then over here we have a bag of dried herbs that my mother saved me from her garden that I use to stage photos. This corner is pretty boring. It's my printer. A lot of notes. Down in that corner there, you'll notice it's just a bunch of tiles that I use to stage photos with. The baskets are pretty dull as well. In this one you'll find lots of fabrics and things I also use to stage photos with. So this has become a pretty sort of miscellaneous thing. And we're going to back up and take a look at the table from this angle. So this marble table is actually a patio tabletop from Earl's, which is a family kind of restaurant here in Calgary. They're a chain, and this one was swapping out all of its white marble tables for a different color, so I was able to get that for quite a reasonable price. I was quite pleased with that. It is heavy as all get out. Oh my goodness. So underneath we have a wide variety of sort of textured photo backdrops that I use. And then that white L, I picked that up and set it on the table to create sort of a false wall. So when I'm shooting projects on the table as opposed to filming, so when I'm taking pictures, it kind of creates the illusion of a wall along the edge of the table as opposed to kind of falling off and seeing a bit of carpet and then eventually this wall. And this is the wall I film against. And conveniently, it's already white, which is very, very useful. All right, well, now you have seen behind the scenes at Humblebee and me. You see sort of where the magic happens. Hopefully, I don't know, that was somewhat helpful for those of you setting up your own studios or just kind of interesting. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. Remember to click through to see the written version. And yeah, I'll see you next time.